I love comics, but the truth is, choosing something to read can often be a challenge, especially if you want to try something new. There's so many series, so much history, picking a starting point is not the easiest thing in the world, and that's where this video comes in. Each week, I'll be looking at ongoing series starting new arcs, new series worth your time, trade paperbacks coming out, and I'll end each week with my pick of the week, my choice for the best comic or graphic novel coming out this new comic book day. To start this things off, we're going to take a look at the trade paperbacks coming out this Wednesday. The first graphic novel to be aware of is Gideon Falls Volume 1. This is published by Image Comics, written by Jeff Lemire, with art by Andre Sorrentino. And since its debut, Gideon Falls has been one of the best books on the shelves. The combination of Andre Sorrentino and Jeff Lemire just works magic. They've done superheroes, but this is more of a horror-esque tale. There's a dichotomy in their style, where Jeff Lemire is more of a minimalist when it comes to his story approaches, where Andre Sorrentino is all about putting as much on the page as possible. That has led to some fantastic books, and Gideon Falls is no different. If you're a person that likes surreal horror or books that simply mess with your mind, Gideon Falls is for you. With this being October season and spookiness coming out, Gideon Falls is also a great choice if you want something more of the horror-centric vibe to read. Lumberjane's The Infernal Compass hopes to bring new life to the Lumberjane series. This book is getting its first straight-to-graphic novel story, and with that, a new creative team, including writer Leila Sturgis. Her previous Eisner-nominated work in such books as Fables and Thor Season 1 should lend itself well to the Lumberjane universe, and considering this is a self-contained story with a new creative team, should be a welcome story for newcomers to the Lumberjane series, and hopefully a return to form for those that have been with this book since the beginning. Since the original creators left, Lumberjane just hasn't been the same series. It's not been able to capture the magic that made it once one of Boom's best books. Hopefully this change will be a welcome one, and Lumberjanes will be great once again. Former Eisner winner Paco Rocco returns with his newest book, Twists of Fate. This book reconstructs the memories of veteran Miguel Ruiz, who was part of a battalion that fought in the Spanish Civil War and World War II in Africa as well as Europe. This book looks to be more than just a reconstruction of war, but also look at memory, what causes us to remember certain things and forget others, as well as a major celebration for men and women that fought against such brutal dictatorships of the time. Considering its subject matter and the past work of Paco Rocco, there's a good chance this might be one of the best graphic novels of the year, and certainly a contender for an Eisner nomination next year as well. At this point, it's safe to say the new Age of Heroes line simply was not the success DC needed or wanted, with most of the characters simply not catching on, and it seems like most of these series are about to be canceled any time now. There have been some bright spots, and one of those bright spots was Sideways. The first volume does come out this Wednesday, and this is DC's take on the Spider-Man mythos, but instead of being bitten by a radioactive spider, this is a teenager that has the ability to teleport, and of course, with that ability comes great responsibility. The thing is, this did something different than the majority of the New Age of Heroes titles, where something like Damage felt very much like Hulk with nothing new. Sideways was able to take the expectations and subvert them in an interesting way, keeping you guessing. Even if Sideways is a book that doesn't have a future, I hope he's a character that does show up in DC books down the line. Alright, we're going to switch over now to ongoing series starting new arcs, starting with Justice League number 10. This begins the Road to the Drowned Earth storyline, which is set to be DC's next big major event, crossing over between Justice League as well as Aquaman. In this, Aquaman has learned about the death of Poseidon and is now on a search for answers. This brings him to the Flood, being tied to ancient gods with grudges against Poseidon, Atlantis, and pretty much everyone else on Earth. Who are they and what do they want? That we're not really sure of, but this issue looks to answer some of those questions. Aquaman 41 is also a tie-in to the Road to Drowned Earth storyline, and in it, Aquaman is missing and Mera is left to pick up the pieces. She has to defend herself and her people against an alien armada that has come to Earth to punish it for the sins of Atlantis. Considering we have an Aquaman movie only a few months away, it makes sense to put himself and his world on the forefront of DC Comics once again, and honestly it's a welcome change for the series because it's been relatively mediocre for the last few story arcs. Also starting a new arc this week is Hit Girl with issue number 9. Recently, Mark Millar has been given other comic book creators the opportunity to write stories for some of his original creations. Previously with Hit Girl, we saw Jeff Lemire tell a story of Hit Girl in Canada, and now writer Raphael Sokol has taken over as Hit Girl travels to Rome to tell a story of what happens when she deals with a criminal underbelly. By giving these opportunities to these creators, it really increases the longevity of these characters as new perspectives are added to characters that were relatively stale after our last few years. Also, it's a great opportunity for readers who have not read Kick-Ass previously or Hit Girl to jump on board without having to read the previous material. The last ongoing series starting a new arc is Gideon Falls with issue number 7. I'll preface this by saying this is different than all the other ongoing series starting a new arc because I would highly advise not starting Gideon Falls with this issue. You really want to start Gideon Falls at the very beginning because a lot of this is building up from issue 1 until now, and to get the full effect, if you've not read volume 1, you're really not going to understand what's going on. Luckily, as mentioned previously, volume 1 has been released this week, so you can catch up on everything that came out before. If you love it, you want more, well, there you go. Issues number 7 is there waiting for you. If you want more after that, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait a month like the rest of us. Alright, let's take a look at new series debuting this week, starting with Captain Ginger number 1. This is brought to us by Ahoy Comics, which is a brand new publisher. This is only the 3rd overall comic and 2nd series that they published, and in the world of comics, it's hard to just get people to pay attention to what you're doing. So many publishers, so many ongoing titles, to get eyes on you is quite the challenge. How does Ahoy Comics overcome that challenge? Well, they give us a book about cats, which actually seems somewhat like a legitimate answer. It's not only any cats, though, but cats in space. Will it work? Time will tell. Hopefully, Ahoy is one of those publishers that will stick around for the long haul. If you're the type of person who likes to get on things on the ground floor, this is a great opportunity to do just that. I did enjoy their first series, The Wrong Earth, so that does bode well for this book. Also kind of debuting this week is The Unstoppable Wasp number 1. I say kind of debuting because this is a series that was around previously but got canceled because of those sales. However, there was a high demand for this book, and because of that demand, Marvel is bringing it back for this new installment. Will be as good as the previous books? Hopefully, as the previous writer is back for this second go-around. Count me as a person that did really enjoy the first series. It was just this unrelenting fun and joy that was so different than a lot of the other books on the stands. I was sad it was canceled, but kudos for Marvel for bringing it back. My only hope is that it will last longer this time than last. Probably the biggest new release this week is Shuri number 1. When you're the breakout character of one of the biggest movies of the year and one of the biggest movies of all time, it's inevitable that you'll get your own solo comic book series. If anything, as a surprise, it took this long. Perhaps Marvel was just waiting for the right creative team, and they have seemingly come along with writer Nene Okafor and artist Leonardo Romero. It's actually coming at a great time as well. With the current Black Panther series set in space, Shuri can take center stage, figuratively as a series and literally as a character, as the people of her nation are looking for her to take over the missing T'Challa. If you're one of the millions of people that really adore the Black Panther film and want to return to that world, Shuri number 1 seems to be your best bet. Also coming out this week is Lucifer number 1. Recently, DC has been pushing hard to make the Vertigo brand mean something once again. In the last decade or so, it simply lost a lot of its luster, so it brought it back a lot of the classic titles, including Sandman, and now Lucifer's getting his turn. This is written by Dan Watters, who's a creator on The Rise. His current series, Deep Roots for Vault Comics, is quite good, and this is the type of book that can launch him into a new stratosphere. One of the challenges, though, with a lot of the relaunches for Vertigo is that simply they've been so tied to things of the past, they've been nearly impossible for new readers to jump on board and understand what's going on. Hopefully for this Lucifer relaunch, that will not be the case. The last new series I'm going to highlight is also my choice for the all ages pick for this week. This is where I pick a comic or graphic novel that's suitable for all ages, including children as well as adults. This week's pick is The Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1. As someone who grew up in the 1990s, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a big part of my childhood, and I'm continuously impressed with its ability to reestablish itself for new generations. A new reestablishment occurred with the launch of a new cartoon series, and this comic spins itself off of that. So if you're someone who's been enjoying that new cartoon series or have a child that has, I highly advise picking up this title. Alright, we are finally there. My choice for this week's pick of the week, which is Dr. Star and the Kingdom of the Lost Tomorrow trade paperback, which collects each issue of the 4-issue miniseries. This spins off of Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer books, and if you're worried that you've never read a Black Hammer book, slow down, it's okay. This is a self-contained story. Even if you've never read a comic book before, this story still works. It packs that much of an emotional impact. The first issue alone to me is worth the price of this book. It's one of the best single issues of the year, and I hesitate to tell you more to ruin the story, but bottom line is it's a deconstruction of the superhero genre once again, as the Black Hammer universe tends to be, but really focuses in on this father and son story and the price of discovery. If you enjoy things like Starman or Green Lantern, think of that but through the lens of Jeff Lemire. So if you're looking for something good, if you've been enjoying the Black Hammer books, or just want something that will give you engaged on an emotional level, this is the best book for this week. Alright, well that will also bring us to the end of this week's video, and let me know what you think of this video. I'm hoping this will be a good service for people that just simply want to know what they should be reading each week. What are you picking up? Let me know in the comment section below, or there's some other great starting points that I simply shouldn't miss, because honestly there are a lot of books out there. I try to limit it and give a good variety, so you may be wondering, where's this series, where's that series? I obviously don't want to make the video too long, so I try to just pick and choose what ones I think will be the most interesting to talk about. And if you want to get more from me, check out this station, as you'll be able to find more videos as I do comic book hauls, reviews. I'll be bringing back my comic book podcast, Comic Concierge, relatively soon. And if you want to check that out, just stay tuned here or go to geekcastradio.com. I also write reviews for Comic Crusaders, so if you want to check those out, usually Wednesday and Thursday they drop. So I write reviews from everything from Myrtle Hall to Image titles, everything in between. But also, if you like this content, you know how YouTube works. Subscribe, like, share, whatever, all that works. And I don't know. But I like to end each week's video by saying comics are for everyone. The key is finding the right one. And my hope is this video will help you find that right one. Thanks for listening.